it's Dorian, they them pronouns. So I have a whole lot more thoughts about the Barbie movie, my current hyper fixation at the moment. More criticisms, more positives, more whatever, more just more everything, just more thoughts about the movie in general. Um, so okay, yeah, I guess I'm gonna get into that. Spoilers, whatever, just more rambly thoughts about the Barbie movie. So I guess to start off with the some more negatives, like the more I've been thinking about, the more it's been bugging me. Like, I obviously noticed before, but it's just been bugging me more and more. It was like not once, but several times I felt there were, anti-indigenous vibes, or just like the way that they just so casually said, oh, it's like in the 1500s, with the, smallpox wiped out the indigenous, just so casually and carelessly for like a punchline, but then also just to not even, and I'm not a historian, but I'm like, isn't that mid 1800s? Isn't that like mid 1830s or so? Like at least get the century right, or maybe there's waves of smallpox in the 1500s. But anyway, but just you just saying it at all, just so casually. But then on top of that, not only having that line in there, but like several times having Mount Rushmore in there. Um, but again, I think that's the point of like, they're not trying to show that Barbie Land is a utopia. They're trying to show that Barbie Land has a dichotomy, a hyper exaggerated dichotomy gender flip situation to, explain, patriarchy, and for the story that they're telling. Like Barbie Land is not a utopia in many ways. The Kens have no place to live. Alan has no say. They acknowledge that. But another thing is like in Barbie Land, while on the face of it they're trying to portray, hey, we solved all the world's problems here, and it is very tongue in cheek. You know, while they're imagining that everything is quote perfect in Barbie Land, they never imagined a world where the mountains weren't carved up. So clearly it's a shorthand to show that kind of, who's in charge, who's in control of the government, and that whole kind of, I guess, colonialist plant a flag on the land, carve a face on a mountain, make a statue, I'm the emperor here of this spot, and a quick visual shorthand to look up to see like who's in charge. So in Barbie Land, I think it's vintage Barbie is the first president, and then I think maybe 1980s Black Barbie is the second president, or I don't know who the other three are. The first one looked like the vintage one, and then and then then the shorthand for Ken, when Ken is in the quote real world, to get all those quick visual cues of like, oh, the men are in charge, for the binary dichotomous story that they're telling. um then it's who are all the faces on the cash, who are all the people on Mount Rushmore. So then to cue Ken in, and again, yeah, whose face is stamped on your money? That's the ruler of the land imposing onto the statues, onto the iconography of the landscape. And then, so then, as also the visual icon when Ken returns back to cue Barbie in that things have changed, they show Mount Rushmore again, 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 this time with horses carved on it. And it's like, at least I guess that's better than having the, Ken's faces carved on it. But still, what would have been better would just be to have no faces carved on it. But again, that was the clue in, that was the joke. So again, all of that was a bit in distaste, but again, that is part of it. That's part of the storytelling about like who's in charge and patriarchy and everything. But again, it's on some level you do wonder if it is like kind of a sort of a to quote, white woman feminist oversight thing too. Like, well, like some other people were saying, like I was watching reviewers from what was it, the film speak, and what was it, the Breakroom, some reviewers in the Breakroom, and then some reviewers for the Filmcast. But yeah, like taking everybody's criticisms into view, specifically like Brooke and Jessica's. But I was like, yeah, like the some of the women of color Barbies in the cast really are just background extras that could be interchangeable, or like, are seem more like extras. Although I don't know, I feel like, Issa Rae's President Barbie does stick out more so. But yeah, like Alexandra Shipp's Barbie and was it Emily Mackey's Barbie, like you almost feel like they could be interchangeable with each other in scenes or something. um and then and then as somebody was pointing out, like Gloria, like how come Gloria doesn't get like kind of a resolved happy ending either? Like how it's not implied that she gets promoted or anything. And so it's like I can see all of that. Although at the same time it's like, well, it is Barbie's story for it to begin and conclude with Barbie's conclusion to her arc. And then I think, I really think all the scenes with like the Will Ferrell Mattel boss was maybe like Greta Gerwig being like tongue in cheek with Mattel, of being like, yeah, here's my conception of what Mattel looks like. They're allowing us to do, oh, hey, yeah, go do your feminist thing. I don't care. Am I gonna make money out of this? Is this gonna make me a lot of money? Uh-huh. Do I get to remain the CEO and stay in charge in every way? Nothing else is gonna change? Uh-huh. And you realize this isn't gonna, you know, affect anything in any real meaningful way, right? Uh-huh. And I get to make money, right? Uh-huh. Yep, there you go. And like at the very beginning of the movie with was it lawyer Barbie? Is it Sarah Rooney? I want to make sure I get the cast right. Um I think it's Sarah Rooney, or Sharon Rooney. I think like the lawyer Barbie, um I think is the one who's opening with like basically saying, fighting against Citizens United in the very beginning of the movie. And then another snark comment is made at the end of the movie, about, they're making running gags against little pecks at capitalism throughout the thing. And then one of the arcs of the point of the movie is, all these things that you buy and that you own aren't going to make you happy. Like when Barbie brings Gloria back to Barbie World, um, you know, this like, yes, this is the right decision. This was the right thing to do. Now let's go look at all the things I own and all the clothes, and all the stuff I bought and all the things I own, and that'll make us feel good. We can change clothes again. And the whole point is to, unlearn all that. And, as Barbie is telling Ken, like, you are not your girlfriend, you are also not your mink coat, you're not the stuff you own and the things you have. And then you can see, Barbie realizing that now she's speaking more to herself, like, and it's a nice message for the movie. So anyway, like, yeah, there's a lot of like things that I can feel cringy about with the movie. But setting those aside and like trying to get someone like the criticisms out of the way first, it's like still, there's still a lot I really just enjoy with the movie. So like getting back onto the flip side of things, one of the things that's irking me though is like trying to track down the music credits, like, and like it's so hard to find like exactly all the music credits, because they'll have like just the big songs that were like written for the movie, like maybe like Dance the Night, Dua Lipa, or they'll have maybe some incidental music but not credited, or they'll have songs pulled from other bands like Matchbox 20's Push, but that's not, is that not credited on this album over? And it's like, you have to, no, like, show me all the music. Like, there's still, I think, Spice Girls, does Spice Girls go uncredited? There's that Spice Up Your Life bit in there. And then the one thing that I don't think has been credited anywhere, but isn't Cyndi Lauper in there? Like, towards the very beginning, when Ken wants to spend the night over at the house, and then Barbie says it's girls' night. It's girls' night every night, and then the camera zooms out to show that they're not actually alone, and there's girls partying in the house behind there. You just hear instrumental, but I think it's Cyndi Lauper's "Girls Just Want to Have Fun." I think, but I think that goes uncredited because I was just like, I wanted to confirm. Like, wait, what was that in there? And then I think during the song where Barbie's running down the corporate office in Mattel, and I think it is oh, what is that Chase song? But I love the music. I love the soundtrack. I just get frustrated trying to like track down like each, and like, why did they make it so hard to find what every single bit of music is that plays where? Is it Choose Your Fighter by Ava Max, or I think, or maybe Speed Drive. I don't know. I'll have to listen to them again. But like, one of them is copying from another song, and I'm like, wait, what is that other song that you're copying within that? Is that Aqua's Barbie, or is that a different song that mentions Barbie that was snipped into that song? I'm like, wait, what was that song? So anyway, I've just been trying to track down, like, I think, and Spice Up Your Life is in there. And then I don't think, like, when in the beginning they're copying the 2001 sequence, I don't think they credit 2001. Or I think it's also Sprach Zarathustra, Richard Strauss, right? So I think. So that should be credited, but I don't think any of that is. I think it's just called like opening theme, maybe by Mark Ronson and was it Andrew Wyatt? And then they do it again, and as like a kind of disco-y version when Ken goes into Century City, which I loved that too, which was making me think of like when there was that big vibe, I think, in the 70s to like funkify classical stuff, and they did a bit with Mozart, but I'm mostly thinking of like, isn't it a fifth of Beethoven that was used in Clockwork Orange? So I was like, oh wait, is it that band? Because didn't they also have, did they do also Sprach Zarathustra? Or like, I would not be surprised if that was out there, or was that written, so maybe that was actually just written for this movie by Mark Ronson and Andrew Wyatt or something, because I thought that was fun and that was really clever. So it's like, I was loving all the music. Like I already talked before, like how I loved like the Lizzo kind of like narration music thing, but all of the soundtrack was just great, and I loved how everything was like well edited. So okay, so I guess in general, some of my thoughts were like, I wanted to rant about the indigenous thing for a little bit, and then I wanted to rant about how frustrated it was to try to track down, like, say just the Spice Girls insert in the thing when I was trying to figure out all the music and where it was set up when. And then another thing is like, I don't know how the music in movies are put all together, but it's like, I think they were saying that like they add the songs in later in post after the movie's all filmed, which is just so bizarre to me, because it's like, I feel like these are big song and dance numbers, and like even just Margot Robbie like running down the hall in the Mattel offices, like you feel like you have to be doing that to the music. So it's like, are they playing the music at least for the actors while they're doing the scenes? Because to me it's like, how could you not? Especially, well, I mean, I assume the big like disco and like also Ken numbers had to be, but like I said, everything else is just so, but anyway, so if not, it's just so well timed and choreographed and edited. And like that's the other thing too, is like I think a lot of people complain about the Mattel corporate scenes, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that, them appearing kind of in the beginning and then appearing at the end and not really being in much of the movie. And I think it's just there to kind of show the dichotomy between, what the movie is trying to say versus what Mattel will let them say, and trying to get in some edgy, not edgy snips at capitalism or something. Or like, you know, not quite be biting satire, but kind of like a nudge, nudge, wink, wink in there. But it's fine. It's fine. It's like obviously, um, yeah. Anyway. I liked how the movie was shot. I liked a lot of like the scene for scene bits, and I liked like a lot of the really small attentions to detail. Like for example, when Margot Robbie's like driving the, is it a Cadillac, like a pink Cadillac, or what, the car, the famous car down the road, like, is that a real car? And if so, it looks like they put like paper or plastic elements over it, like that the lights are not actual lights. It's like maybe little cardboard circle pink lights in there, and like the dashboard is all paper. And it's like I just love those touches and like those kind of like practical effects. And I was watching like a behind the scenes thing of like the making of that transportation sequence with like the jet ski and the and the camper and all that. Like they really should do like a behind the scenes like making of for how they did that, because it was all old school, like really old school, like 1920s filmmaking with like, well, more like theater with people like pulling waves back and forth to create the three dimensions. It's so like camp and fun and inventive and like classic Hollywood all at the same time. Like the movie is just, even if you set the message aside and even the concepts aside, and you just are just visually looking at it, like the set design is really cool. And like somebody was saying, I think it was, what was it, Eric Voss, I think, was saying like, um or I forget who now, but like when they go to the real world, how the real world looks faded in a way and also looks real in contrast to the Barbies. Like I don't know how they did that visually. Like it looks maybe washed out, and like the sky is always gray. Um and like a different color palette. There's no like pinks in the color palette. And I like when Barbie like looks up at the sky, that it's not a bright blue sky, that it's a gray sky. And I think that's kind of the point, is that it's more complicated, it's more nuanced. And I like a lot of the messaging throughout the movie. And I also realize in a lot of ways like I am the target demographic for the movie in a lot of ways. But yeah, I like the like slick editing. I like the music, like progression throughout the movie, um, like how they can kind of keep pacing in scenes with like keeping like kind of like that funky beat going in the background. It's just nice. There's a lot of nice little details. I think I already talked about like the end credits and stuff like that. I don't know. Now I'm just lost all my train of thought. But I don't know. I'm just a couple other miscellaneous thoughts, I guess, about the Barbie movie. Anything other? Oh, well, I was gonna say, like, though with the dolls, like, there's no, as much as they try to show the utopia of like diversity in the Barbie world, it really isn't. I don't think it's mimicked at all in like the doll line released now, right now in 2023 for the Barbie movie, because it's like most of the Barbies I think that they released are all just Margot Robbie Ken and Ryan Gosling, or Margot Robbie Barbie and Ryan Gosling Ken. They have one Simu Liu Ken in like the gold disco that was like not one of the $25 ones. It was like the upmarket pricey ones that only one type, and already of course like all sold out. And then I think that's it. I think all of, oh, they're going to have a weird Barbie, and that's it. And I was just, because I was just like so kind of happy to see that with like Sharon Rooney, like there was a really plus sized Barbie, because I'm like, that's the whole point, is that Barbie doesn't come in like plus sizes. And then I guess it's like, well, you Google it, it's like, well, they do make Barbies in more diverse lines than they ever did when I was a kid. But when you look at like the Barbie plus sizes, it's like, oh, well, they now plausibly have hip bones. It's not like actually plus size, you know. And then they don't have any Ken dolls of uh Chirigatwa or Kingsley Benadire like at all. Like it was like, really? Like I thought their Kens were like hysterical. Like they're missing out if they don't have like a Churigatwa like Ken like coming with like a little like tennis racket set, or like maybe Kingsley Benadire's Ken could come with a drum set. Oh, that was another nice little joke I liked in the movie of like, I liked, you know, like, can I play guitar at you for 4 hours? And you know, I love that line, and like to me, I'm like, well, yes, please. But then I loved when they zoom out and there's all these guitars, and then Kingsley Benadire's Ken is playing drums. I'm like, oh, that's so great, that's so great. And then I was like, how the hell would you play a drum kit on the beach in like actual sand? Like, would it start to sink? Like, I don't know, but anyway, but like I just loved that little punchline there. But yeah, like seriously, no Kingsley Benadire or Shurigatwa like Ken dolls at all. And then of course, what I would really like, but I imagine Mattel is probably intentionally not doing it to keep it a unicorn. But what I would love, if we're talking like doll Barbie merchandise capitalism, and how you're not supposed to buy things because buying things doesn't make you happy, and what you own doesn't identify who you are, and that's the point of the movie. So go buy toys, but not really. But yeah, if I were, you know, like everybody else, I'm like, you know, there's something about childhood nostalgia. It's like, why not? Like, I pre-ordered a weird Barbie, you know. I mean, and then okay, you have to have the disco Barbie. Okay, but now we're done. Why, as an adult, would I even spend money on Barbies? But this movie has gotten into my head. But what I really want is I really want an Alan doll. Like I identified most with Alan. Like I am Alan. I loved Alan. I love that Alan, like we don't really see much with his arc, and he's in the background on purpose, and his whole thing is to be like confused, and like he's definitely a feminist, but he doesn't really totally completely identify with the Barbies, and he's rooting for the Kens, and like, you know, like I love Alan, and like Alan's living in the weird house with the other like weird Barbies, and like Alan's an ally, and like Alan can also kick some ass in a funny, awkward way. Like Alan is great, and like Michael Sarah is like the perfect Alan. And then like I just like, if you're selling the merch, you should have the Alan, like maybe like a, you know, to look like the original Alan doll, and or you could have Michael Sarah kind of weird Alan doll with like that original Alan stripy shirt outfit. And but then you should also have the disco one with like the little gold suspenders and the gold bow tie and like the gold pinstripes. Like that was just so, like I should totally theoretically do that for Halloween or something, is like go as like Alan Disco. That would be so cute. Anyway, this movie has definitely gotten under my skin, but I love all the little details. I love like the practical effects, like that transition sequence, how like the seagulls are fake seagulls on strings, and then when you come into the real world there's a point to show like real seagulls, and like, or the like kind of Ben Fosse like fight dance sequence scene. Like there's just a whole lot to love with this movie, and like it's flawed, but at the same time, like I actually like laugh in this movie, and there's something about it that makes me feel joyful, and I am an inherently anti-joyful, non-laughing person. So it's like this movie has brought something out of me. I don't know why, but it's just delightful and it's fun to look at. So I just wanted to add some additional thoughts with it. but also pointing out its flaws and like, hey Barbie, make a like Sharon Rooney like Barbie doll. Like her disco outfit is awesome and glittery, and like her beach outfit with like the like all of her outfits like are stunning, and like every scene like make an actual real plus sized Barbie doll in all the cute outfits from the movie. Like really you're missing out on, since this movie is just printing money. You could sell literally everything you look at in this movie. You want to reissue those like purple space astronaut Barbies that came out like in the 60s that you showed when Margot Robbie goes space. Like I would want one of them, the purple astronaut Barbie, like the Tanner dog that was discontinued. Like people would buy the shit out of literally everything in this movie. Like just make every single extra a Barbie. Like it's, and you have all the outfits. Anyway, this movie will just keep printing money, which is hilarious because like 30 seconds into the intro is the anti-citizens united speech. But anyway, it's a funny tongue-in-cheek movie. Like there's some sass to it. Like I don't know, I feel like slightly Monty Python-esque sass. Like, we know that we're white, privileged, rich white boys, but we can still poke fun at the satire of our inherently stupid colonialist British Empire thing. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's camp, and like a lot of people are saying it could have been edgier, but see, if it was truly counterculture, then it wouldn't be a blockbuster either. It would be an entirely different movie. Go see Death to Smoochie or something. Like I think they're like Mattel is gonna take the entirely wrong message from this movie and make like the 8 Ball movie and like an Uno movie, and like it's all going to be trash. But it's like if you wanted to see like counterculture Barney movie satire, just watch Death to Smoochie, and Robin Williams is in it. R.I.P. Robin Williams. Anyway, so on that note, yeah, I guess I just wanted to add some more thoughts about this random movie that's a fun blockbuster. So, unfortunately, I don't think there's any other movies out there that I'm looking forward to. Nothing that's really piquing my interest. Maybe the Bob Marley movie, but a lot of the other stuff that I've seen trailers for is just like Haunted Mansion, like no, it's already a remake, or like Marvel's, like I'm not interested. Like I think I would see a solo Monica Rambeau movie, but like her power is that she can see light. Like what have you done to this character? Like I don't know. But anyway, it just looks too hokey. And well, it's not their fault that I'm done with the MCU anyway. Just too many slams, Quantum Mania, and Thor: Love and Thunder, and whatever. Anyway, Barbie movie's really fun. I just hope there's something else creative out there in the works coming up in theaters next sometime. I don't know what that might be. Okay, later.